What is up, guys? Sunday afternoon. Did an 11k run this morning in the heat, getting very, very toasty in Dubai. I think it was 35 degrees. It was way too much. But today, Sunday, is usually client fulfillment day. So I've done a bit of programming and I have a few client calls. I'm 2 down and I have 2 more to go over the next couple of hours. And this is gonna be really raw, this video, but I'm gonna talk about kind of why I know that some people do better with their fitness than others, whether that's literally building fitness, becoming more aerobically fit, chasing down performance PBs, building muscle, losing fat. Usually for our clients, it's a combination of all of those, but I think it comes down to the best, well, not the best, but the people that do the best with their training and their health and fitness, they build their life around their health and fitness. Now that might sound quite obsessive, but essentially all it means is that they see their training, they see their health and fitness, they see their nutrition, they see it as a non-negotiable. And I think once you make that key mindset shift from my health and fitness is non-negotiable to negotiable, you're always going to do really well. Obviously, it's going to take a long time to get the results that you want. If you know what you're doing and you work with coaches, you're going to get there quicker. But I truly think that you will get to where you want to be eventually. And on the flip side of that, you have people, speak to these people all the time, whether that's in person, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, who they say that they're serious about getting results with their health and fitness, but they still consider everything that I've mentioned there as optional. Now, I'll use myself as an example, maybe a little bit of an outlier. Obviously, my motivation to stay in shape is naturally going to be higher than someone who doesn't work in the fitness industry. But everything that I do, the decisions that I make on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis revolve around my health and fitness. And even, like 95% of people watching this are not going to be coaches and they don't work in fitness, but you want to think with your health first, because you're always going to be a better person for your family, for your partner. You're going to operate at a higher level and a higher standard in your career. So I really think that you should, even if it's not to get into amazing shape, you should be thinking and leading with your health and fitness first. There's kind of that cliche but very true saying of, if you don't have your health, then you don't have anything else. And I listened to a lot of podcasts and stuff recently, heard a few very rich people, rich and successful people say that, they could have all the money in the world, but as soon as they get ill or they get a terminal disease or something like that, literally everything that they've achieved monetarily, financially, it does not matter. So to cut a long story short, start thinking with your health and fitness first. Again, to use myself as an example, the way that I think, the way that I operate, we chose this apartment because it's in close proximity to a couple of gyms. It has a good gym in the building. It has a pool outside. The way that I run my life, my social events and stuff, I'm always thinking about my training. I have a regimented structure throughout the week. I know exactly what I'm doing on certain days in terms of my training. You don't have to be that regimented. Obviously, you can move things around, but I think there's a lot to be said for knowing exactly what you're going to do and intend on achieving going into a week in terms of training and nutrition. Like looking at from a training point of view, for me, for example, it's usually leg day, lower body day on a Monday. It's almost always a run on a Sunday. And I'll always make sure that, if I was to go out on a Saturday night and have a few drinks, I would have probably have done that run and moved it around. So I'm always thinking about that first. Some people, if we use that example, if they were going out and having a few drinks and they had a scheduled run on a Sunday, they might occasionally miss that run. They deem and see their training as optional. And from a nutrition standpoint, if me and Misha are going out for a nice meal on a Friday night or a Saturday, whatever it is, I'll make sure that I roughly understand what my intake is going to be on that day, and then I'll plan accordingly leading up to that. Throughout the week, Monday to Friday, when I'm doing the majority of my work, I'm not eating processed foods. I'm eating good quality, clean foods, and I'm not over consuming on carbohydrates throughout the day, because I know how that's going to affect my productivity, my energy levels. I want to avoid being lethargic. And even if you're not working in fitness, and even if you don't work for yourself, you should be thinking with that mentality with your work and your nutrition. If the thing that you're having for breakfast is just processed carbohydrates, no proteins, no fats, it's going to spike your blood sugar, it's going to make you lethargic, it's going to make you want to go back to bed. Like, how can you be going into meetings at work having overconsumed a couple of hours before? So you should be thinking about your health and fitness with most of the decisions you make. Now, obviously, you need to have balance. Of course, you do. That's something that we preach inside our program. But going back to what I was saying before at the start of the video, the reason that some clients do well, the reason that the people that do the best on our program do well is because they have that non-negotiable attitude with their training. And it's not as though those are the people who aren't as busy. To be honest, it's usually the busier people that are better. Like, for example, I was just speaking to one of the clients that I work one-to-one with on a call there. He's a CEO of a company in America and the UK, has 2 companies. He's literally not missed one day of tracking nutrition since I've coached him. That's including travel. That's including when he's going on holiday with his wife and his young son, all these sorts of things. And then on the flip side of that, I've unfortunately coached some people in the past who they do see the targets that myself and the team set them as negotiable, as optional. They don't hit them. There's days where they don't track their nutrition. Now, I'm not saying obviously we expect nutrition to be tracked 365 days of the year, but overall, if you do want to achieve the best results, and if you want to look at the people that are doing the best, they have that non-negotiable attitude. They're very, very consistent, and they build everything in their life. They work it around their nutrition, but they still have a really, really good time. Like, for example, a lot of our clients, they will travel, whether that's for work or leisure, but they'll always be looking ahead to see, am I in close proximity to a gym? Am I staying in a hotel with a good gym? Is there a good healthy buffet breakfast on board? Like, can I order meal prep when I'm in these certain cities? So, a bit of a ramble, obviously a one take there. But if you are struggling to see progress and you're wondering why, you genuinely don't know why, you're sticking to a program, you've got a meal plan, whatever it is, are you actually seeing those targets that you've set yourself, or maybe a coach has set you, as negotiable or non-negotiable? And are you working the rest of your life around your health and fitness? Because until you do, you're never going to get into amazing shape. You might hold a good composition year round, but if you really want to take it up a level, and most of the people that we speak to, they're wanting to get, certainly sub 13-14% body fat, preferably closer to 10 to 12, you're going to have to start taking things very, very seriously. And again, just to reiterate the point, it doesn't mean that you can't have a life, you can't have balance. To be honest, the people that do the best on our program, they're actually the most social. They probably drink on average maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, but they're absolutely dialed in with everything else, and everything they think about in their routine is worked around their health and fitness. So it's just something to think about.